Welcome to our LearnUpon webinar, The Growth Architecture, how leading associations are imagining the member journey. So welcome everybody. We're getting ready to kick off. Give it a minute for a few people to come on in and we'll jump right in. As we're waiting for everybody to come on, let me go ahead and do a quick housekeeping items. The webinar is being recorded and will be available for rewatch. Be able to ask questions by putting them in the chat, and we really hope to see some participation from the audience today. I'm Mark Jones, CAE, Global Director of Membership and Associations at LearnUpon, and joined by a couple of wonderful ladies today. Let me introduce and pass the mic to Kricket Nicole to introduce themselves. Kricket, will you start off and we'll get rolling?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I am Kricket Ichwantoro from the National Education Association. I am the Senior Learning uh, Specialist. I had a moment where I couldn't remember my title, and I've been with the NEA for about 13 years, and I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you, Kricket. Nicole?
Hi everyone, my name is Nicole Luque. I'm the Learning Development Manager at the Institute of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology. For those of you that don't want to say that all at once, IMarEST for short, and been at the Institute now for about a year and a half. So brought on some really good things in terms of the L&D space. I'm really looking forward to talking with you all.
That's great. Nicole, anything what you're most excited about chatting about today? Anything that's just top of the mind?
I know we've got it as a subject coming up, but the automation side, like membership bodies, associations, professional bodies, however you identify, uh, they tend to have like a small team running like this whole dynamic series of systems for like thousands of members and trying to smartly work out how we can utilize technology while keeping hold of the human touch. Bearing in mind that we are not for profit, so the budget's not massively huge, but trying to balance that automation with that human intelligence aspect is quite exciting. And I'm
Well,
a
this
little
will be
bit of an AI nerd as well. I do love it.
oh, good, good. Well, we'll dive into that today. That's a big topic on everybody's mind too. Cricket, anything just on top of your mind as we get ready to jump in?
I'm always looking for good ideas and stealing ideas from other people. I'm looking forward to learning more from Nicole, actually, and just exploring skills. That's a big topic for us right now, how we can leverage skills, how we define them, and um, how we develop our members throughout their member journey through those skills.
That's great. Well, hey, before we get really kicking off, I want to just ask the audience, what's your favorite place that you've ever been that you love? Whether it's a vacation coming up or someplace you're ready to go, put it in the chat, let everybody know where you want to go and maybe where you're from. So get a quick idea, everybody that's out there, make it a little exciting. I just got back from the little spring break, little skiing. I think it was snow skiing and water skiing in the same bit, but that was up in Colorado. Some other people may have. Oh, Austria, my go-to place. Beautiful, beautiful. So Brazil, there's a few others. So this is great. Well, y'all keep putting that in the chat. Everybody will get a good idea of where everybody is and where they love to go. There's a lot of beautiful places in this world, and it's fun to visit them, no doubt. Well, as we kick off, I'm going to jump in. We're going to do a quick poll. And if I can do this good, we're going to launch a poll here. And as it's coming up, please participate and join in. And where does your education currently sit in your organization strategy? Everybody should be able to go through and start answering some questions on the poll. And we've got it's a siloed member benefit, a secondary revenue stream, the foundational infrastructure, where we're currently developing our strategy in this area. Starting to see some good results coming in. Give it a little bit longer here as we go. And seen as a secondary revenue stream seems to be leading the pack here. That's that is where we're looking for the non-dues revenue. Let it a couple of more coming in, still going up a little bit more in the secondary revenue stream. I think, when we think about education, wouldn't we like to see that as our primary revenue stream? in the organization that really drives our membership growth and engagement and other areas. But it's good numbers there. All right, well, we'll end the poll there. Some good information, really pretty balanced around everything. That we got people that are in the early stages of their strategy, really thinking about, um, the siloed member benefit, and of course, just foundation about what we do in education every day. So, all righty, fantastic. All right, that eliminates that poll for the moment, and I'll share those results out, and then I'm going to stop sharing and we'll jump in. We won't have to use the slides right now. We'll kick into some Q&A. Well, one thing I think that, Cricket Nicole, as we kick in and we start off, really you know, looking at where that educational strategy really sits within your organization now. And Cricket, why don't you take us, and I think, as we think about the organizational strategy, about that member benefit, we're also wanting to say that most organizations, and I think, Nicole, you said it right up front, that we're limited in staff, and our research shows that 69% of our associations operate with fewer than 50 staff members. Yet we serve communities of 5,000 plus members or organizations that are out there as we deal in our professional bodies and our trade organizations. When our teams are lean, manual processes occur and they're disconnected tools are our barrier to growth. Also, our research is showing that 44% of our associations say collaboration between our marketing and our learning only happens occasionally. Well, that gets us into more silos, no doubt. And this results in disjointed member experiences and missed revenue opportunities as well. And so we're starting to see our organizations, our associations moving into more of that growth architecture and really trying to find a way to not just make membership as a perk, but actually a machine that's driving an association recruitment and renewals. It's connecting technology and using that educational data to automatically trigger the right member touch points and really trying to turning education into that measurable growth and milestones. So thinking about how we look at silos and we look at lean teams from that standpoint, where are you in your processes? What's Cricket, we'll start with you. What's breaking down the moment where your organization finally realized that some of these manual processes were blocking your growth or maybe inhibiting some of the things that you wanted to do as an organization strategy?
That's a very complex question. There's so much that I can tackle there. We have had LearnUpon as our LMS for 6 years. And the way that we're structured is I work in DC at the national headquarters, and then we also have affiliates, which are states. And we have about 25 affiliates that have a sub-portal. So it has organically grown to the point where we have developed best practices we can share with affiliates when they come on board and they want a portal. We can share those best practices, get to know what we call your comms or your communications team who does your social media, who handles your website, to be able to promote the good work that you're doing. Get to know your technologist, because I think Nicole, maybe it was before we were talking, I can't remember before we started, but the automation, like really trying to find ways to do as much as you can with the limited resources. And then I think what we are looking at now, because we are more and more integrated with these other departments, which is fantastic. Uh, we're really looking to bring value to our members throughout their career journey. And so for us, what that may mean is that they take some courses through the portal. We want to see the evidence then of what does that result in? What are those actions then that result from those? And we have ways to do that. We can see, if someone takes a leadership course and then they design some activities at their work site, or maybe they're a speaker on a panel, or they deliver training themselves. Then we are seeing the evidence of the courses that they're taking. And then what we'd like to do then is to offer additional training. Hey, we saw that you've been doing these things, the evidence of those things, and here's some more, and really building them and having them be a part of the association. They're a member of this association for a reason. So we're really, beyond revenue, yes, and membership, retaining membership, it's really bringing value is what we're looking for.
You know, I think we're all trying to figure out as associations and everybody on here, how do we deliver value? How do we do it different than other organizations or for-profit organizations that are, or different organizations that are coming after our member and where they don't have, maybe the knowledge, the expertise in that particular arena, that true depth that we do in the associations, and bringing that value is in many different ways. Education is a large part, as well as advocacy and such. And you talk about
Mhm.
evidence-based, research and or evidence-based outcomes from that standpoint. What do you see as the end result of that? I mean, is that going to move people further in the profession? How does that advance the profession? What does that look like in that what's that North Star?
Yeah, I think there's so many, and I think the beauty of this is that that is the member's definition. What is the member's definition of that? Or do they want to be a leader? Are they looking for advocacy, a voice in their profession? Do they want to be on the school board so they can determine, they can be making decisions for the schoolroom because they've been in the schoolroom and not a politician making decisions for the schoolroom, right? So it really depends to them, but giving them the pathways and the opportunities. We don't dictate, we just want to provide support for them throughout their member journey.
I love it. Nicole, why don't you jump in? Tell us, what that pivotal moment was, as you realized, okay, some of these processes are really breaking down. What was some of the barriers maybe that you had in growth and where you're starting to run to as well?
I would like to say probably the pivotal moment was before I joined, which is why they advertised for this role and then luckily hired me for me, lucky for me. So it was something that, if I'm honest, IMarEST has years and like literally hundreds of years in history. Um, and it's trying to move away really from, without sounding rude, that old boys club where it was literally like all men in a room, they were talking about engineering, to actually becoming something that's relevant and impactful for the industry. So you need to obviously consider, like, our, if I'm being completely honest, our membership is towards the aging side. So it's trying to bring in that new stream of young people, trying to get them excited about this industry. So this is where I would say like learning development comes in great. It offers, touching on what Cricket said, those learning opportunities really to actually help people in their career. For us, it's being able to prove that we exist for our members, we exist for this industry. And if we're not providing for them, then obviously we're not doing our job. So whether it's through mentoring, short courses, events, volunteer run sessions, it's trying to cater for all these different career pathways. And but basically, like you said, that whole growth architecture, like how do we like make sure we're supporting that and how we're going towards it. Our strategy, which was the new strategy, was released last year, and that's all about creating membership with impacts, being a technical voice, developing our global community, so we don't have to worry. So makes my job a bit harder, but also exciting. I can't just focus on the UK. I've got to consider international standpoints, views, cultures, values, all the ethics behind that as well, which is really, really exciting. But from a learning development side, it's like, how do I cater for that? How do I make sure the data's correct? So when it comes to those touch points in that membership journey, we're sending the right information, we're suggesting the right things, we're pointing them towards the right career advice. So it's a very complex question, lots of barriers, but I would like to say we are in a position where we're getting quite good at knowing where those barriers are, how to overcome them, and it's going on the up from what I can see.
So, thinking about, curious, how big is your learning and development team? Because definitely, that's what
It's
we
me.
see. Just you. So, Cricket, how many's on your team that you got in that learning and development team? A few more than that?
Well, it depends on how you slice it, right? I mean, there's me, Brandy. I mean, there's very few of us at
Yeah.
headquarters, but when you start looking at the people we liaison with or we coach, it spreads. And then there's the affiliates. The affiliates are, of
Yeah.
course, it is a community, right? I can't say that. I mean, I'm really grateful for being in this position. I do need more staff. However, um, we really rely on one another, and I find that the people that I interact with, like the admins for those sub portals, and the affiliates in the states, they're so generous and they're so smart, and like they do things that I uh, grab and then broadcast to everybody else, right? Like, please share this good work. Please spread these good practices because it makes all of us better.
Well, so, for our audience, I mean, here you've got a, a a larger resource pool to pull from, especially with those state affiliates
Absolutely.
and bringing those in, and a moderate sized learning team upside. Nicole, you're one person. There's a lot of associations that have one, two, maybe only three people on that entire learning team, and then they've got to communicate with marketing folks and the membership folks and the event folks, and those are limited resources as well. And so I think that's just something that,
Zena,
go
I
ahead.
was going to say just the one thing. I know we're like quite small in terms of like the size of our organisations, but I do think one of the benefits with that is it's so easy to just be able to talk to the right person. Like I have to say, we've got a really great dynamic team. If I need support with marketing, they're easy to reach out to. Membership team, if I've got a query, they're there. And then obviously the whole network of volunteers that go behind that. So when I say it's just me, it's not me just sitting in a dark room twiddling my thumbs thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to do all this? I am quite fortunate that I've got a really great organisation backing me and like a whole host of volunteers supporting that as well.
Well, we'll have to, yeah, share some of those great stories, because that's where a lot of our research shows that that's where a lot of organizations start failing right here is in that silo. They get there and they're just working so hard on trying to build the content, trying to work on the education, trying to do that, and they don't have that team of resources. They don't have that collaboration that really goes through. So that's great news. So I'm sure somebody may want to ask the question. Give me the golden ticket. How do I get there? How do I get that, with limited staff and resources? But we'll maybe get
I
some more
can't, I
follow
mean,
up in
I
that.
can't imagine like doing this work
Yeah.
without the support of those other people, like what Nicole was saying. I can't, I mean, it would simply be impossible. It is impossible to do it
And I think
alone.
and I
You
think
have to
that's maybe
have, yeah.
the great message there is, make sure you've got your support channel, make sure you've got the people to collaborate with, and that you've got it scheduled that are working with it. And I think that's a great message there, because if you're finding the success through that, then everybody else should be looking at that. So thinking about, let's take jump into another area that, thinking about automation. Nicole, you talked about without losing the human touch. Right. So why don't you lean into that? Talk about, some of the things that you're doing to really take that single line of administration and things that you're doing there, knowing that you've got other team members, but managing that. How does automation really play into what you're doing today?
It's it's great if the data's correct, and I think that's where the human touch comes in because AI goes so far, but at the end of the day, it can only do what it's got available, and as we all know from Copilot and ChatGPT, it can make its own assumptions, which aren't always great. So in terms of like the automation side, like one of the great things is plug and learn upon as well a little bit here with that platform having that personalization touch to it, so being able to feed in that data from members that have selected certain areas that they're interested in, whether that's a expertise, an area in the industry, and being able to actually suggest relevant learning to them, which is great. And that goes just beyond the learning platform as well. That goes into our events, that goes into our actual membership processes, seeing if they're at the right grade of membership, triggering sort of alerts if they're ready to actually upgrade, or maybe go for, we offer like professional registrations and charterships, and trying to build them towards that as well. So it's great for me personally in the L&D space. I find it helps especially when I'm structuring learning. So I use the tool Easy Generator, which has like AI built into it for building courses. And it's great for suggestions and sort of giving me like if I know what structure I want it to be and sort of like putting in bits of information. But I guarantee you, I always need to go in and I always need to double check it, and I need to check it against the source material to make sure it's done it correctly. I'll always get a subject matter expert to go in and review that as well, because I as much as I value my ability to understand information, I always want to be like thorough and make sure I've not missed anything. Uh, and then also, I'll be honest, I do use Copilot, which we're not allowed to use ChatGPT anymore, and I really do not like Copilot, but I will use it every now and then, whether it's just for simple tasks like making sure like I've worded the email in a fair way, or getting it to sort of like check that I've put a document together. So it goes from probably like those small admin tasks, which I can quickly and easily put through, right through to those larger tasks that go system wide across like membership processes, L&D, suggestions, events. And I'm pretty sure our marketing team probably have got a whole like host of like tools they're using their side to like make sure they're pitching it to the right people.
Well, and that's a big change for a lot of organizations is really tying that marketing automation and that learning experience to really
Yeah.
personalize and really, take out that really add in that human touch versus leave it out where it's not as personalized. You're not curating somebody on their journey of their learning journey and such. So Cricket, thinking about automation and kind of the member experience that you have out there, how is that change in your tech stacks and actually allowed you to be more present for the members? Anything around there? Because definitely you're touching a lot of different people, and it has to be more personalized, or you get a less experience, I'm sure.
It's an evolution. I 6 years from now, talk to me, and it's going to probably look really different. So, what is going to be the same? I'm really happy that we have an integration with our membership database. Most of our users come into our portals and they self-register. We don't do any kind of compliance or anything like this for the most part. So it's generated by their own interest to even approach the portal. Once we determine their membership, then if they are a member, then it's pretty much everything. The world is their oyster, so to speak. We do bring back other information, demographic information and things like that from our membership database that then we can target specific training. And a lot of that is, we're national, so we have a much broader view. But when you're talking about the affiliate, the state affiliate can even narrow down to districts or locals and really be able to target training to them. And this has been Florida is doing some really great work with their locals. I just had a conversation with them last week, and they're really targeting um, that personal approach. Like we want to be the professional development. We want to be their go-to source for their professional development. Um, the other side of this equation, so we are getting the information right now from our membership database into the portals. The next stage that we're developing is getting all about learning data back to our CRM. And that will really democratize the information. So kind of like back to what I was talking about earlier, what we really want to have is this encompassing understanding of our member. For example, again, Cricket took these courses. That information is now in the CRM where our field reps can see, oh, Cricket took these leadership courses and then she attended this conference. Maybe we can have this conversation with her when we go and go visit her work site. We have that information. We can learn from her. Maybe she wants to do hold sessions herself or do some leadership training herself. How can we continue to engage? So I think, and I'm gonna say it again because skills is going to be a through line for all of this, really defining those skills and competencies, what it means to hold certain positions within the association and give it some value. So For us, I think it's a TBD. Like it is, it's a work in progress. I'm really excited about this work. Yeah.
Well, I think, as you bring up the idea of, competency frameworks and skill, and trying to move people in that professional development with your evidence, based outcomes that you're looking for. Maybe we'll dive into that here in a second and talk a little bit more about how you're moving into that strategy. What steps are you taking to move into a more tailored professional development around those competencies and skills? Because I think that, maybe at the high level, just the steps that you're taking, because I'm sure there's a lot of associations that are out here, nonprofits that are out here today that are listening and thinking, we've talked about competency, we've talked about frameworks, we've got them loosely, but now that we're seeing a change in the industry, really to focus on those skills and try to, move people up in the taxonomy and master and become innovative in not only mastery but innovation in their outcomes. How do we get there? What are the steps that we take as an organization to move down that road? But Nicole, I want
Mm.
to just kind of jump in here in the middle of this and just see, because some of the areas that you talked on, not only just around the human touch, but some of the impact that you're having around technology. How do you see on your side some of that impact of speed and that automation, and how that's changing that member, engagement with the organization? And maybe, how are you seeing that for also this new audience that you're working with, this younger audience that's a whole change? How's that personalization, and how is that play into the to the growth of the organization today? Because it sounds like you're touching a whole new market that's starting to age out in the profession, and a whole new set of audience that's coming in, which is extremely exciting.
So I'll be honest, it's still fairly new. So all of our new tech, like learning platform, like L&D offerings, it probably all started going live in November. So it's still quite fresh in that area. But already, which is really lovely, like you can just see on LinkedIn there's a buzz, like members are commenting saying they're really enjoying this. Um, but in terms of like that impact, the best people I ever hear this from is the members themselves. And whether that's where I'm at an event and someone's come over, they ask what I do, and I say I'm in learning development, and they've turned around really excited and gone, "Oh, I really love the new learning platform. It's really great." Um, I've had volunteers come to me and say, "We've got ideas. We want to go and create this course." So it's creating that sort of like loop of like, not only am I hearing suggestions from members, but I'm also getting volunteers coming forward and actually offering that information as well. So I would like to say in the early stages, it's going really well. Um, but yeah, like probably echoing what Cricket said, come back to me later in a few years' time and I can really sort of demonstrate that and give you some like real evidence. But one of the key things is like we want to focus on as an institute is we offer free membership to students studying in that marine field. And it's trying to build that retention with them as well, because at the end, once they've completed their qualifications, are we good enough that they actually want to pay money and renew that membership with us? So that is probably going to be a real key thing for us in identifying if that impact is happening with the younger people. The younger people, I say, like I feel old saying that.
So is that part of it? Is that part of the strategy though? Is let's offer some free content. Let's get these students in. Let's get them understanding the value of the association and of the institute and what y'all are bringing to them. And maybe it's too early to say that, but are you seeing a revenue impact? Are you seeing a membership growth? Or are you just kind of getting the underlying themes, as you think about the steps that you've taken to get to this point and realize there is a different strategy that we have to look at? How does that feel right now? What does that look like? Or are you in where you can actually have the outcome analysis yet, or is it just the foundation's been set?
The foundation's been set. It's early, so our renewals happen in October. So it will be interesting there to actually see if the impact has had its desired effect. But from the discussions I've had, and our membership team are brilliant. They'll go out and they'll do talks at universities and seeing how they're getting on. So it's been like verbal and like word by mouth, and survey feedback has been really positive, I would like to say. but I never want to jinx it until I get the actual numbers in. So we'll find out in October.
That's great. Maybe we'll have that follow-up webinar, see the outcomes here
Yeah, and
in
that's
the
when
next
yeah,
six
I
months.
disappear.
Cricket, thinking about the same type of thing, I think as we look at, what our board of directors always looks at, what our stakeholders are looking at, what our executive teams are looking at, some of us are wanting to drive non-dues revenue. Some of us it's about impact, not just about completion rates and checking a box. It's really about, as you said, we're trying to advance professional development. We're trying to move somebody in their career or their interest or where they want to, go in their journey of their not only education but their journey of their avocation or job or roles or other things of that nature. So, how are you seeing that this type of focus around those competencies and those frameworks, the idea is to drive more member engagement, more knowledge? What's kind of the steps that you've taken there, and what is that looking like overall for, a non-dues revenue impact or just the outcomes that you've talked about in adding value and professional development? What does that look like to the organization?
Yeah, I think we as an organization kind of take our marching orders from our members. They
Yeah.
determine our new business items. We have an annual meeting every year and they vote. And we have to deliver on what the body decides. And so the end of July, come August every year, we may have these new business items and we figure out, okay, we need to address these things. How are we going to do it? So, and that's it's good to be held accountable to the people that you work for, which is members, right? We work for members, and it is defending public education. I mean, so much of this is about, we are in the business of public education. Um, so for us, the non-dues revenue, I mean, I was kind of thinking about what Nicole was saying, and it's wonderful to acknowledge this newer generation because we do too. We're seeing a lot of people leave the profession of teaching. They don't, it's a really tough job. And how do we maintain those educators? What can we do for those early career educators to keep them in the profession? And that is definitely one of the areas that we look at. And that's a unique journey in itself, as opposed to maybe a higher ed person coming in to seek professional development from us. So we do have a lot of different segments that we are trying to recognize. Um, and we do have the support of our executive and president and our leadership um, in really delivering value to those different segments of our members. Um, I feel like I've lost your question, and because I just was thinking about what Nicole was saying, and
No,
does
no,
that
no.
answer
It
the
it
question at
really
all? Or
well, no, yeah, no. I think the big thing is here is, are we seeing an impact? From, is it
exactly.
is it is it is it value? Is it revenue? I mean, and Nicole, you said, we're adding value by giving things to our student, our newer audience that we're really targeting and trying to bring them in. And so it's yet to be seen, but it's a it's an engagement tool or a tool to bring people in and then take them realize that there's value with the association, and the next journey is, wow, there's if I can get this, what can take me further in my career or in my knowledge or down the different paths that somebody may go in their.
Yeah. I think it's like it's retention for us. Like it's retention and it's really driven by membership. Like the revenue side of like the PD that we provide is not really the impetus for us. We really want to have our members be engaged and keep them
Yeah.
and entice more to be a part of this vocation and also part of a part of the association.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. Nicole, just thinking about your side, have you seen a strong correlation between the engagement and member retention? Do you feel like that is changing the needle for you and giving you the opportunity for this new foundation and growth that you have?
I would like to say yes. So whether it's our members' council, board members, or even organisations, like they have been given really positive responses to all the new stuff that we've been doing, saying it's been asked for a long time. It's great to finally see it being delivered and being delivered right. So I do feel like that is helping in that regard. Especially when it comes to like obviously we offer funding for awards. We offer, we ask for sponsorship. We don't offer it, but we do offer sponsorship in other areas. So it's like trying to make us not just meet that member need, but also at the end of the day, we might be not for profit, but we do need to make profit. Not for profit does not mean no profit.
No money, no
We need to
mission.
be able to reinvest back into what we're doing. So to be able to develop new learning and development initiatives, I need to make sure we're obviously bringing those profits back in, and obviously like being able to develop more. I will like be honest, like since I've joined, I have managed to convince like our organisation to invest a lot of money into what I think is really important, because it not just me personally, but the strategy of IMarEST overall. And one of the key things now, just moving outside like the non-due revenues, is I do actually need to bring in a direct revenue. And one of the main focus of this year is building those commercial courses. So we've got this great learn and development offering, which is a membership benefit. It's all part of that package. It's that encouragement to renew your membership at the end of the day. It's that encouragement to actually join our membership. And then on top of that, it's looking at a whole new stream of learning offering where it's commercialized. So members will obviously get a discount, but trying to bring in others from that sector who might not think being a member is as important yet, but by offering these courses, paying, attending, thinking, great, this is great stuff that IMarEST are offering, it encourages them to obviously go and do more from us. And one of the key things I find is I keep repeating this over and over, and everyone's probably fed up of me saying it, but volunteers are like key for us. And I think if you can offer something really great and they have that brilliant experience, they then want to get engaged more. They want to be an ambassador for you. And that is perfect. That is literally ideal world where you have other people that aren't directly hired by you actually going out, spreading really great word, encouraging others to join. So that probably for me is the end goal, is delivering an experience which is so great that helps them in their career and makes that person want to give back as well. So that's probably I've gone off topic completely.
No.
But
Well,
that's
I
my big
tell you, if you were to say, one thing about how to engage volunteers, I mean, they're wanting to participate. This is awesome. I think that's where a lot of organizations struggle too, is how do you get them, maybe one key, sentence here of what we've done different. Is it the education? Is it what is it that engages them to participate and really want to give back to the mission of the organization to advance the profession?
And I think they're the ones as well that help you with those non-due revenues as well. So they do a lot of the legwork for you, which is
Yeah.
brilliant and really, really like fortunate as well.
That's wonderful. I know we're kind of getting close to our time here, and would cricket, thinking about just where the journey that you've come on, with trying to continue to advance education and touch your affiliates and advance the individuals, in the organization and your members in the organization. What are some things that the audience should be thinking about just in the journey and the process that you have that would be um, just help them think about the strategy or some of the barriers that you may have come across or some of the other things that somebody needs to think about that maybe they're non-negotiable when they think about not only technology but also just the process that you have to go through to make these initiatives happen.
Yeah, I'm reflecting on like when we started and where we are here and what I what I didn't know, which was volumes. Um, and what I would tell myself if I could turn to myself 6 years ago, It has definitely been, I am not a single person leading this initiative like Nicole is, although at times it has felt like it. It has grown and generated the good work. The good work in my situation has attracted others to this cause, so to speak. It has attracted other people that want to be a part of this. They have a learning audience that they used to go maybe tour around the country or something. They're like, hey, we can really scale this and we can really get this good messaging out so much easier by using this platform and the tools that we've invested in. And really partnering with those people, um, like when Nicole was saying with her volunteers, we really encourage our members to be a part of this also, because this is their association. And if they want to have a voice in this association, give them a platform and an avenue to come on board. We have MOUs to like define those terms, but we have an onboarding process for that because we want them to be a part of this and own some of this work. It is for their benefit. So, um, and really listening. I mean, just listening. I feel like I've just really tried to listen to the organization and the different components of the organization and deliver, check what I'm hearing and really try to deliver on those items, those things that aren't working, those things that are clunky, those things. And that list is never going to end, I don't think. But when you get those successes, it feels really good. It's like, hey, you said this, and we were able to deliver on this, and this is here's the data for this. Um, and that builds, that continues to build, and people start looking at that work and really being able to engage and bring in, have ways to bring in other people, whether those be your volunteers or your members or other people within your organization laterally. Bring in your communications department, bring in those other people who can also help you deliver those results that you're looking for. It's a lot of partnerships.
That's great. Nicole, kind of as we start wrapping up, what is some of your takeaways here that you want to leave with the audience and in their journey and thinking about how they're trying to do what you're doing, engage a new set of volunteers, drive some, additional revenue, other things of that nature, and using the automation, using the tools, using technology to advance what you have to do as a small, lean staff in your day to day.
I think change has to start somewhere, and it always feels like a massive process if you're at the beginning of it. But it's trying to break it down in those step by step processes and work it out. And echoing what Kricket said, it's about listening, really listening to what's your organization saying, what your members are saying, because it's really great if you've got this big idea and you want to run with it, but is it actually going to deliver that impact that you want it to? Is it going to actually help your organization? In the future of AI, is it going to take over and like ruin these processes with the wrong data, but like without scaring people? But is it smart? Is it what needed? Is it going to be the most impactful? And I think that's probably the key thing. So it's really listening, really doing your research, really understanding what it is that needs to change, and then going from there. And don't do this siloed either. Like one of the key things you said at the start, like L&D typically is usually really small across like associations. You've got other people within your organizations, and definitely tap into those expertise as well. So tap into marketing. What is their insight? What are people asking for? What are the best channels of communication to reach out to? What are those touch points? And even like your membership team, they talk to your members day in and day out. They probably know them better than anyone else. They probably know them better than like the members, like partner, some of the conversations they end up having. So really like listen to them as well. They've lived it. They've helped them through that journey. So if you are starting a place where you want to build that tech stack, or if you want to just like improve a process or even offer a new L&D initiative, really, really listen. And then, yeah, go from there.
Oh,
And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's what you learn from it, I always think, is a big thing.
I love it. I think that's you really hit the spot right there for, and that's it. Listen, learn, um, try to deliver at the end of the day, and show the outcomes not only to your team but to your members of what you're delivering, and continue that growth. Well, let's see if we can do another poll here. Let me see if I can share my screen again. Let me find that real quick, and we're gonna do a quick share and do one more quick poll. Let me launch our poll here. All right, everybody should be able to see that. All right, which element of the growth architecture is your top priority for the next 6 months? See what kind of data we get from our audience. And we got a few questions we'll wrap up with here as well. All right, first one, integrating our tech stack, our LMS, our CRM, our AMS. Sounds like Cricket, a lot of things that you're doing there, trying to bring them all together. Implementing personalization for members. Okay, that's good. And more, we don't want generic. We want to really target them and let them know that we know who they are. I think Reggie Henry used to say it well. We want to listen with intent. Automating professional development to save staff time or better reporting on our non-dues revenue. So let's see where we end up here. Looks like automation. Well, thank y'all for talking about your automation today and some of the things. Definitely that's helping out. Seems to be that we're lending to that. Small staffs need to have things that and tools that help us be more efficient in what we do day to day. So I'll give a couple more seconds here and we'll let this run through. All right. Looks like automating professional development is number one with a close one right in on implementing personalization. So it tells us what our audience and I'm sure what their members are saying to them too, right? We need to Staff is saying, I need more help. I need more resources. Cricket, I think you said that. I need more staff, right? So there's it. How do we do that? Maybe automation can help us out a little bit. Maybe some investment in those type of tools to help automate or utilization of those tools and along with our marketing team as well, because that's where that full circle loop can really happen as we're talking about marketing and personalization and then the learning side of that and their journeys as well. And of course, personalization, really getting down to we know who they are. We're going to deliver the right courses, the right content, the right information, and move forward. All right, I see we've probably got about time for one question and let y'all answer this here. Not seeing a ton of questions, but a lot of fun places people have visited and like to visit. Well, I'll just grab one of the top ones that comes up here. Anything about how do you integrate community and learning? Anything of that show up there? I'm gonna go ahead and stop our share results, stop our poll here, and then let me stop sharing that. And we'll stop sharing. So as we end up, just a real quick, any comments from our panelists here, Nicole or Cricket, about integrating community? And I assume we mean maybe a community, you know, collaboration or otherwise, or maybe you think of community in a different way. Just let each of you just talk about that for a minute.
So for me, and speaking on behalf of IMarEST, community is a real key thing. Like, as I mentioned, we're an international audience, so we've obviously got to cater for different time zones as well as languages and different cultures. And one of the key things that we do to integrate that community is making technology available for them to communicate with each other. So we have what we call IMarEST Connect, where members can go and post questions and other members can then respond to that, answer. We've also then got our mentoring program as well, where you can connect with someone who can offer you those skills or knowledge or advice that you're looking for. And then on the learning side, it's building, I would say, the best one for me in integrating that community in the learning is if you can have events where you can get attendees to talk to each other and network, whether that's in person or you can do online sort of sessions where they can go on and have a little chat, or you even sort of host workshops where they can come and collaborate and share knowledge. So there is a whole, for me, different ways that you can do it. It's trying to find what works best for your membership. So every profession is different. For marine engineers, they are very technical, like they want it written down, they want diagrams. And then I've got the science community who love all the data as well. And then we go on to the technology who love to express and talk a bit more. So it's trying to find that sweet spot of like who prefers what and finding the right tool to then be able to facilitate that for them.
Yeah, that's great. Cricket, anything about the community is you've got a large community of not only members,
Yeah.
but volunteers and state affiliates and such.
I like that you know your personas so well, Nicole. That really does accelerate how you can deliver if you know who those audiences are. Yeah, so our community depends on who we're speaking of. We are a big fan organizationally of blended learning, which is basically or people call it, hybrid learning, where, the learner will experience maybe taking a course or two or a module or two um, through the platform, but then get together as humans, whether that's virtually or, via Zoom, or it's actually in person, and just keep going through a journey, just it could be a course, maybe a 7-part course, it doesn't matter, but having an opportunity to meet as humans, to have that interaction, again, whether it's virtually has its benefits. I know, each sometimes you're getting people in some of the states that people are far flung. South Dakota is a large state, and people could be pretty far out there, and they could be meeting one another virtually and talking about something within that course. So, South Dakota does book clubs, and they run that through the LMS, and I absolutely love it. It really engages and brings people that otherwise wouldn't necessarily meet. You build a community by doing that. We have other people that play a role within our organization staff that are field staff, and we do a similar model with them where they consume the content online, but then when they get together in person, they're all speaking the same language. They know what the expectations are because they've already taken the course through the LMS, and then they can go back in and complete it. So yeah, I think personas is really, Nicole said that, really knowing how your members or your community operates and what their needs are, and then designing pathways for them to engage.
Well, great words of advice, great conversation today. Thank y'all so much for sharing your expertise, insights into your association and some of the things that you're doing around, growth architecture and really how you're leading the association industry and the things that you do. Cricket, Nicole, I want to thank you so much for your time today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to collaborating soon. And for those that are on the audience, don't forget we've got our LearnUpon Connect conference in Chicago, May 7th and 8th, and hope you might be able to attend. If you do, please reach it. If you don't know about it, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you about it as well. And a great time to come, and whether you're a customer or not, we'd love to have you and participate with us there. Everybody have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your time, Cricket Nicole. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Nicole.
Thanks, Cricket. Bye.